Have you ever wondered what makes shawarma, doner kebab, and gyros so deliciously different? These iconic dishes surely look similar, but each tells a unique story of culture, flavor, and tradition. Let's begin with shawarma. Back in the days in the Middle East, the idea was simple. Take meat, season it with spices, cook it slowly on a spit, and serve it. The origin of the name? It comes from the Turkish word shawarma, meaning turning. That's a nod to how the meat is cooked, on a vertical rotisserie spinning as it roasts. This method is as old as the Ottoman Empire. Picture this, layers of marinated meat stacked in a cone, rotating and self-basting as it cooks. The result is tender, flavorful meat with crispy edges. It's like magic, but with fire and spices. Shawarma's origins go back to the Levant region, but it really took off during the 19th century in Turkey as a version of the traditional doner kebab. While lamb was the star back then, chicken, beef, and even veal joined the party over time. Here's where it gets fun. The concept of cooking meat on a vertical spit spread across cultures. It traveled to Greece and became the gyro, made with pork or chicken. It reached the Middle East and morphed into shawarma, packed with local spices and served in pita bread. And let's not forget the pickles, veggies, and creamy tahini sauce that makes shawarma stand out. But wait, there's more. Shawarma didn't just stay in the Middle East. In the 1960s, Lebanese immigrants brought it to Mexico. And then they swapped lamb for pork, added chili sauce, and created something new. Tacos al pastor. Think of it as shawarma's spicy Mexican cousin. Let's break it down. The marinade, a blend of spices like turmeric, cinnamon, garlic, and cardamom that soak into the meat overnight. The cooking, slow and steady on that turning spit, which keeps everything juicy. And the toppings, anything from pickled vegetables to hummus and garlic sauce. It's a flavor explosion, all wrapped up in a soft pita or flatbread. Traditionally, lamb ruled the shawarma world, but now you can find chicken, beef, or vegan versions made from plant-based proteins. There's something for everyone. Shawarma started as a humble street food in the Middle East, served from roadside stands and small shops. It was quick, affordable, and packed with flavor. The perfect grab-and-go meal. But as more people discovered it, shawarma started popping up everywhere. In places like Beirut, Cairo, and Amman, it's still a street food classic. But today you'll find shawarma in cities like New York, London, and Berlin, often with a local twist. For example, shawarma has become a late-night favorite in the UK, perfect after a night out. It's comfort food with a history. No matter where you try it, there's a little piece of the Middle East in every bite. Craving more insights on your favorite wraps? Keep watching to uncover what makes each one unique. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe to the channel. Next up, doner kebab. Originally it started simple. Seasoned lamb stacked on a vertical spit and roasted to crispy, juicy perfection. The name doner comes from the Turkish word domek, meaning turning, which describes the rotating spit used to cook the meat. But here's where it gets interesting. While the idea of roasting meat on a spit dates back to the Ottoman Empire, the doner kebab as we know it didn't become a household name until much later. Initially, the spit was horizontal and the dish was more of a picnic food in Turkey's northeastern provinces. By the 19th century, though, vertical spits started appearing in Istanbul's kebab shops. Why the change? Space saving and self-basting. Genius, right? That vertical spit gave us the tall, rotating meat tower we know today, with thin slices carved off the crispy outer layers. Here's a messy story. In the mid-1800s, two Turkish cooks, Hamdi Usta and Iskender Efendi, claimed to have invented the vertical cooking method. Efendi's name lives on through the Iskender kebab, a dish where doner meat is served over bread with tomato sauce and melted butter. But the doner sandwich you grab after a night out, that's a different story. In the 1960s and 70s, Turkish workers began migrating to Germany. Among them was Kadir Nurman, who noticed something. Busy German workers needed a meal they could eat on the go. So in 1972, he opened a stand in West Berlin near Bahnhof Zoo and started selling flatbreads stuffed with doner meat, salad, and sauces. And just like that, the doner kebab sandwich was born, or so he claimed. Of course, others argue that they were first. Mehmet Aygun, another Berliner, says he created the doner sandwich in 1971. Then there's Nevzat Salim, who said he and his son sold the first doner sandwiches in 1969 in Reutlingen, Germany. No matter who invented it, one thing's clear. Germany took the doner and ran with it. Today, it's the country's favorite fast food, outselling even currywurst. So how did a humble Turkish dish become a worldwide phenomenon? Simple, it's fast, portable, and downright delicious. In Germany alone, there are an estimated 40,000 kebab shops, and Germans eat 600 tons of doner meat daily. The UK has around 20,000 kebab shops, and the doner is a staple of late-night eats, especially after a night out. And let's not forget about the rest of Europe. Doner kebabs are now a go-to street food in countries like France, Austria, and Sweden. Even Turkey has embraced the doner sandwich, though purists argue it's not the same as the original. In recent years, Turkey has tried registering doner as a guaranteed traditional specialty with the EU, arguing that only doner made with specific methods should bear the name. Germany, however, wasn't having it. After all, the doner sandwich is as much part of German food culture as it is Turkish. Finally, we have gyros, or as the Greek would call it, gyros. Back then, the idea was simple. Stack slices of marinated meat, cook them on a vertical spit, and shave off crispy bits as they cooked. But where did it all start? This mouth-watering tradition has roots that stretch back thousands of years. The technique of grilling meat over an open flame dates back to the Mycenaean Greek and Minoan periods. But the gyros as we know it today, that's a 20th century creation. It arrived in Greece in 1922, brought by Greek and Armenian refugees from Asia Minor fleeing the aftermath of the Greco-Turkish War. These refugees brought their rich food traditions, including the now iconic gyros. Here's a fun fact. Gyro comes from the Greek word for turn, a reference to the rotating spit used to cook the meat. After World War II, gyros' popularity grew in Greece and beyond. Wherever Greeks migrated, gyros went with them. By the 1960s, they started making waves in the United States. The first gyros in America? That was in Chicago, Illinois in 1965, thanks to George Apostolou at his Parkview restaurant. He introduced locals to this flavorful street food, and it took a little while for gyros to catch on. Soon, they were a menu staple, even competing with popular hamburgers. So what makes a gyro so irresistible? It starts with the meat. Traditionally, lamb is the go-to, but you'll also find variations with chicken, pork, or beef. The key is in the marinade, a mix of oregano, garlic, thyme, lemon juice, and olive oil. This gives the meat that signature zesty flavor. The cooking method is just as important. Thin slices of marinated meat are stacked in an inverted cone on a tall vertical rotisserie. As it spins, the outer layer cooks to crispy perfection, while the juices from the upper layers baste the meat below. The result? Tender, flavorful slices that are shaved off as needed. Then comes the assembly. In Greece, gyros are served in warm, lightly grilled pita bread. You'll find fresh toppings like tomatoes, onions, and lettuce, all topped with a generous dollop of tzatziki, that creamy, garlicky yogurt cucumber sauce. Sometimes you'll find crispy French fries tucked inside for extra crunch. In Greece, gyros are a street food classic beloved by locals and tourists alike. Walk through Athens, Thessaloniki, or even the islands, and you'll find lines of people waiting for their turn to grab this delicious wrap. But gyros didn't stop there. In the US, they become a symbol of Greek cuisine and casual dining. Today, you can find them in food trucks, restaurants, and even online for delivery in Greece and abroad. What's the secret to gyros' global appeal? It combines simple, fresh ingredients, bold flavors, and that irresistible contrast between juicy meat and crispy edges. Gyros isn't the only star in the vertical spit world. Its cousins, shawarma and doner kebab, share similar roots but have unique twists. Shawarma, popular in the Middle East, typically uses lamb, beef, or chicken seasoned with cumin, turmeric, and cinnamon. It's often served in a wrap with pickled vegetables and tahini sauce. Sound familiar? That's because shawarma inspired Mexico's tacos al pastor, which were brought over by Lebanese immigrants in the 20th century. Then there's doner kebab, turkey steak on the vertical spit tradition. It's usually a mix of lamb and beef, served in flatbread with tomatoes, lettuce, onions, and sometimes a spicy chili sauce. Thanks to Turkish immigrants, doner kebab has become a street food staple in Europe, especially in Germany. So which of these iconic dishes would you try first? The rich spices of shawarma, smoky flavors of doner kebab, or the fresh simplicity of gyros? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.